Hi everyone, welcome to Value. So today we're going to look at Lordstown Motors because it's making a bigger splash on the market right now, especially that pre-market, around 24% in the pre-market, which is insane. And why is that the case? Is this company turning around? Potentially, because this company has had a massive slide in its share price. This company from the start of the year was in the mid-20s and it's gone down to $5.51, which is a massive slide. Right now at $5.51, as of the closing on the 25th, it had less than $1 billion in valuation, which is insane, right? Less than $1 billion for an EV company that is on the cusp of producing an electric vehicle. It is probably by far the cheapest one at its current stage. But of course, if you follow the history of the company, they've been receiving a river of bad press, like a massive landslide of bad press. And I think it was not helped by the CEO, who just didn't really, run things too well. I think he started too many projects. He used too many misleading words. I think that's the problem, that in the past it's been mismanaged, but if they can find a CEO, which they happen to have found a CEO, that could just steer the ship, then potentially things could really turn around, and that means the share price could turn around in an amazing way as well. So I think that's kind of the hope of this company finding the right people who have the right experience to turn this company around. And then it potentially could generate so much value, because the amount of value that has been lost by the slide in the share price is massive, and we're possibly seeing a massive turnaround right now, but we can never be too sure yet. The share price could be up in the pre-market, but we don't know how long it could be up for as well. But yeah, let's jump right into this. So namely, the share price is up pre-market over 23%. Is because they hired a guy called Daniel Ninivaggi. And this guy, you probably don't know the name, I don't know the name, but he happens to be a former CEO of Icahn Enterprise. And for anyone that knows Kyle Icahn, he's a very savvy investor, also a very ruthless one, and he's only going to keep the best talent next to him. And this guy was right next to Icahn, and he has to be good at what he does in order to be kept around. He's mainly been involved in an automotive type of industry in terms of the Icahn in the part, in terms of what he did for Carl Icahn. But prior to that, he also was in that area as well. He was part of an $8 billion supply of powertrains, chassis, and sealing and brake and other automotive components prior to the sales of Tenneco. So, he's got that experience, which is most important. We don't just want a CEO who's just being financial. You want a guy who's good with finances, good with strategy, and he actually knows the industry. So Icahn Enterprise, he oversaw the automotive aftermarket service network and parts distribution businesses. So you can kind of see that this guy does have a lot of experience in this area. Ninivaggi has extensive experience as director of public companies, including Icahn Enterprise, Motorola Mobility, prior to its sale to Google. So you kind of have to notice a trend. A lot of companies he's managing tends to get sold off. So maybe that's not always the best sign, but let's hope he's learned so many valuable lessons. Navistar International, Hertz Global Holdings. Again, that one's probably not a great sign either, but we probably give him the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, so far I think the market's kind of perceiving this to be something that could be a big turnaround if they get the right person. And what's this guy said? I believe the demand for full-size electric pickup trucks will be strong, and endurance truck with its innovative wheel hub motor design has the opportunity to capture a meaningful share of the market with an absolute focus on execution. I look forward to working with the talented Lordstown management team, our suppliers and other partners to bring the endurance to market and maximize the value of our assets. So, it seems like this guy's enthusiastic, he knows what he wants to do, and as the board's written, the board is enthusiastic about Dan's appointment as CEO. We are impressed with his broad automotive background, track record, strategic thinking, and team-oriented leadership talent. Furthermore, his capital markets expertise and investment proficiency will be invaluable in navigating the company through its commercial ramp-up, capital allocation, and growth phase. We unanimously conclude that he has the optimal combination of skills and public company experience to lead Lordstown Motors at this time. On behalf of the entire board, I'd like to thank Angela Strand, who successfully served as executive chairwoman during the CEO's transition period and will continue as non-executive chair going forward. So potentially could be an amazing hire. This is another guy that could probably be an amazing hire as well, Eric Purcell. So this was also a recent release by Lordstown as well, and the one thing that really stood out to me about this guy was he worked at Tesla. So if we see here, during his time as director of manufacturing at Tesla, he was responsible for both Model S and Model X body and stamping shop, overseeing a team of more than 1,000 engineers, technicians, and associates. During his tenure, he drove a production output increase of 35% and labor content reduction of 33%, and reprioritized previously deployed capex budget towards higher impact projects with a simplified project scope, saving $3 million while reducing unnecessary risk. Prior to Tesla, Mr. Purcell held senior level positions at Kia and Nissan. So yeah, two really nice hires so far. Big name. Well, in a sense, they work for big names in a sense. So I'm pretty impressed, and this potentially could be that really nice turnaround, because when you want to see a company turn around, they have to hire the right people, and those people will be the key part to turning around these companies. And yeah, that's cool to have a guy from Tesla, and also a guy that's worked for Carl Icahn. And yeah, they've also had they've released this as well, so we've been through the statements. What else would we want to look at? So they did also demonstrate the capabilities. Lordstown Motors demonstrates capabilities of Lordstown Endurance at Northeast chapter of the American Association of Airport Executives. So it's really nice to see them still going out and about and demonstrating the vehicles, which is always a great sign, because you're on the cusp of production, so you do want to be getting that PR out there. But of course, one of the most important things is also the financials. So for the second quarter, they reported a net loss of $108 million and capex of $121 million. They still had cash of $366 million, so that's at least another 2 or potentially even 3 quarters of money still left over. And they did have recently secured an equity purchase agreement to access $400 million in capital, so that potentially gives them up to $766 million to use, which should get them into production and selling them to customers, and which is going to be the amazing part, because if once they get into the production, I think that's where they have a lot more certainty about the company, and also investors will feel a bit more certain about the company as well. But certainly let me know what your thoughts are. But so far, I'm pretty impressed with how they're turning things around. They're watching the amount of money they're spending. They're making sure that they don't run out of money by getting some equity financing as well. Not that they'll need it anytime soon, but so far they could, it means that they've got that certainty, and they will be basically purchasing a lot of extra equipment as well. Lordstown plant is production ready with retooling of stamping, assembly and body and paint shop completed. Battery line is fully commissioned and full electric hub motor line has been site commissioned and currently being installed. So everything's really moving into the company's pathway, right? New CEO, I've got a guy from Tesla, and then we've got the financing kind of sorted. So you got to look at the company and kind of feel like actually maybe things are starting to click in, but there's still a huge amount they have to do. There's still a huge amount of risks involved. But so far so good, and I think in the aftermarket, well, pre-market, not aftermarket, that things are looking a lot brighter, things are going in the right direction, and it's very much one of those things that if they get through and they do produce, then potentially it looks very, very nicely. It could shine through very nicely in the share price, which has been very, very downward sloping of late. But yeah, fingers crossed that things continue to go very, very good, smoothly for the company. Especially, you're literally just a month away from production, so that's going to be an amazing part. I think downer was that they're getting into production, but they actually won't be selling the vehicle until the start of next year. So there's kind of a big disconnect between them producing and them selling at the start of the year. So that's the one thing. But I think once they start selling at the start of the year, that potentially could be a huge catalyst for the company as well. But yeah, we'll have to watch this company eagerly and hope, it's always nice to see a business like this succeed, particularly in this industry, but it is getting very competitive at the same time. So of course you want to assess these things and assess whether you want to take this risk, and yeah, do a bit of research on this company. So far I'm liking this turnaround. I think they've got the right amount of people coming in, they managed to get the right financing in, and we'll see how things go, of course. Until next time, good luck investing, everyone.